What's good, y'all? It's the one and only Nappy Fred coming back to y'all with another album review. Today, if you haven't already read the title or looked at the thumbnail, which you had to have because it's really bold, you can't miss it. Today, we are going to be reviewing Earl Sweatshirt, Doris. This is Earl Sweatshirt's first studio album released August 20th, 2013 under Odd Future Records and Columbia Records. Sorry, I had to pause right there. I had to think in my head. But let's hop into it.
Baby girl, what you wanna do? Hop in this 80s girl, she like where we.
First song we have on this album is Pre featuring SK LaFleur. Hopefully I said that name right. I feel like this song was a very interesting start to the album, and I only say that because, well, I'm going to get into it. I feel like the production was definitely very creative. It had kind of that futuristic, static-y kind of sound to it that I thought was definitely different. The beat type was honestly pretty solid. I'm not even going to lie. And I feel like the bass in the background, I feel like added a little more touch to it. So overall, I can enjoy the production, but like on a good day. It's not like the best production, but I do feel like it's one of the more creative productions that I've heard in a while. But getting into the verses, I feel like SK starting it off, I feel like he had a solid verse. It wasn't too bad. The thing is, when you're comparing a guy that doesn't have crazy wordplay to a guy like Earl Sweatshirt that does have crazy wordplay, it's a big gap. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. But I do feel like his verse has grown on me. I feel like his verse is definitely acceptable. I feel like over time it could get better and better. But I definitely feel like the biggest highlight is Earl's verse. Earl's verse, like I said, with his wordplay, wordplay, lyricism, just punchline heavy on this was really impressive. I love his cadence, the way he kind of switches up the flow. I thought was really dope, and I just feel like overall he had an acceptable verse as the last verse within this song. So overall, I would say this song was pretty good. I could listen to it again, but it's not a song that I would add personally to my playlist, and that's all I'll say about that.
Grandma's passing, but I'm too busy trying to get this fucking album cracking to see her. So
Next song we got on here is Burgundy featuring Vince Staples. I feel like this song was definitely one of the more interesting songs throughout the album. I know there's way more interesting songs than this, but it just made me more interested getting into it. I feel like from a production standpoint, it definitely gives you kind of that like happy feel kind of production. It's like more exciting. It's more energetic, I'll say. It has different instruments in it. And I feel like the beat is definitely really good. I feel like in some ways, I don't really want to say this to offend anybody, but it kind of overpowers his lyrics a little bit. And that doesn't mean that that's a bad thing, because I think we know Earl is a lyricist. He can keep up with almost any beat, but I just feel like the production is so like happy going. It's like it kind of makes you overshadow what he's really saying. But getting into the lyrics, which I feel like is very important, I feel like his lyrics were definitely dope. His cadence wasn't nothing crazy on here. He didn't have like the energetic voice that he usually has in his other songs, but I do feel like storytelling wise, you definitely getting a dark message. And obviously dark messages can be a benefit because obviously him going through like this kind of just rough life and just a rough situation. And that's why I was basically describing to y'all like how the production is so happy, but the message is so dark, and I feel like it kind of doesn't match in a way. But on the other hand, it works at the same time. So I feel like only Earl could do something like that and just elevate it to a whole nother level. So I feel like the messaging was honestly very good. The production was obviously very good as well. It's one of those songs where I feel like you got mixed emotions because maybe it doesn't sound like it goes together, but once he raps on the beat, it's obviously okay.
Until the world ends, doing 85 in my riding. These niggas hiding, know I'm striding like a giant. I ain't lying when I'm.
Next song we got on here is 20 Wave Caps featuring Damo Genesis. I feel like this song was honestly pretty solid, man. It definitely gave that creativeness right off the rip. I feel like the production was definitely like very dark. It kind of sounded like something off of an evil arcade game where it's just like reversed as like a sample or something. But I feel like it was definitely really a cool listen because it definitely feel like you were in kind of like that boss level kind of music in the background. Like it just sounded like nostalgic in a way. But getting into the production, wow, I said the production. Getting into the lyrics, obviously. The lyrics I think were honestly pretty dope, especially with Damo starting it off. His verse was short, nonetheless, but I feel like his verse was honestly pretty acceptable. And I just love how Earl just hops on this beat like he just woke up. Like, I don't know what it is, but he usually just hops on beats and just be like, yeah, let me just spit a quick verse real quick and not put in any voice effort at all. And I just love that. But overall, his verse was definitely solid. Like I said, not crazy cadence, not crazy flow, but I feel like his lyrics were definitely really dope. I loved his wordplay on here. I thought that was really good as well. He says things so fluidly, like it with ease, really. Like I don't know how he does it, but definitely a dope song.
And we both know that I don't mean to offend you. I'm just focused today, and I don't know why it's difficult.
Next song we got on here is Sunday featuring Frank Ocean. I definitely feel like this song has a very important storytelling to it and just an important message in general, which I'm about to get into it. But I feel like with production wise, I'm not the biggest fan of the production. It definitely gives you kind of that melodic, slow beat kind of sound to it, which I'm not mad at because when you get into the lyrics, it definitely matches up. So I would say the production is fine for lyrics and storytelling purposes, but if I had to do it as an individual, I wouldn't really enjoy it that much. But getting into the lyrics and obviously the storytelling, I feel like he definitely had a really deep message with this. It seemed like he was talking about a girl and, admitting that he hates that he misses her and just, all that kind of stuff. And usually that's very hard to like talk about. And you could literally hear it in his voice how emotional he is about this certain girl. And I feel like, he wasn't afraid to express his emotions on here, which I feel like is really dope. Most people might think it's corny and whatever, but this is definitely a really good storytelling song that I feel like Earl was able to put together. And obviously, we cannot forget about Frank Ocean himself. His verse was definitely really good. I loved his storytelling aspect of just him going through a different change in life that, he wasn't open to at the time. I think y'all know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to express it too much. But like, I feel like the way he was able to open up and just really give his side of the story, I feel like was really dope. And obviously, Earl and Frank Ocean could make a really good collab any day. Like they're a part of Odd Future, obviously. So in my opinion, this is a pretty good song, especially from a storytelling aspect. This wouldn't be a song I would listen to often, but I feel like if I heard it, I wouldn't switch it on it at all. Like, I think it's honestly a really good song.
Promise hair Ron, I put my fist up after I get my dick sucked. Quick buck, maybe it go.
Next song we got on here is High featuring Vince Staples and Casey Veggies. Honestly, this is top tier lyricism music. I'll just say that because the syllables on here and I'll break it down to y'all real quick. I do want to start off with the production, even though I said I was going to give y'all like kind of the lyrical thing, but the production is honestly pretty solid. I love kind of the hollow in the background. I love the beat type on here and just the overall sound, I feel like you have to pay attention to the lyrics because it's not the most sounded production, but the beat type is definitely really solid. But getting into the lyrics, because the lyrics on here are insane, especially when you get into the first verse. I top tier. Like the syllables on here with the wordplay is like, I mean, you can't. I genuinely don't know if there's a better lyrical song on here than this song. Like this song is insane. Earl Sweatshirt's verse was obviously incredible, and the way Vince Staples came in trying to match the energy, I feel like his verse was definitely solid as well. But I feel like the rhyme schemes from Vince was honestly very, very good too. He definitely brought that true West Coast kind of sound out of him, and I thought that was really dope. Yeah, but if I had to say who had the better verse, I mean honestly Earl. Like Earl is just, man, that dude is so good, man. Like I don't know how people sleep on this dude. Like man, this song is definitely top tier and definitely on my playlist if y'all ain't know.
Pendulum swinging slow, a degenerate moving through the city with criminal stealth. Welcome to enemy turf.
Next song we got on here is Chum. I thought this song was definitely another interesting storytelling song that he was able to break down very fluidly. But getting into the production, I feel like the production was pretty cool. I like the piano sound kind of in the background with a really good beat type. It's more of a darker piano sound. Well, not too dark. It's like kind of in the middle of being high but being dark at the same time. So it's kind of a mixture of both. But I feel like getting into the storytelling aspect, I definitely enjoyed it a lot because it definitely showed some relatability. Obviously, not having a father is very common in the black community, and just also missing his father is very common as well. And dealing with kind of being in the middle of just being black, but then also being white, and he couldn't really fit in into certain crowds. And I just thought that was very, very, touching in a way. Not that I could relate, but I can only understand like what he went through at that time. And I feel like Earl, when he expresses things by talking to us in a rap song. And I feel like he did that so well that honestly, I just listened to the lyrics the whole time. I really didn't even care about the production. And y'all know how big I am on production, but the lyrics were just that dope. And the crazy part is he didn't have no crazy flow. He didn't have insane cadence. But I feel like his wordplay, storytelling, and just the way he was able to lyrically put things together to make a good storytelling song, I feel like is good enough for me.
After filling my reputation of all beaters, saw to Taco Bell and I ordered some gorditas. That's good.
Next song we have on here is Sasquatch featuring Tyler, the Creator. Before we get into anything, I want to shout out Trayvon. I know this is one of your favorite songs, and it's personally one of my favorite songs as well, and I'm going to explain why it's one of my favorites. I feel like the production was definitely very, very good. It definitely brought that kind of nostalgic purpose to it because it sounds very downward, but it's such a good downward kind of sound. I don't know how to really describe it. It's just more of that like awkward kind of sound, but it sounds really good. Like I don't know how to explain it. And I feel like the beat type was definitely on the lighter side. It wasn't nothing too upbeat, but I feel like it was able to like match the energy of the production overall. But getting into the verses, obviously Tyler starting off the album. I think this was around, I believe, Wolf, Tyler the Creator, which I would argue is one of my favorite versions of Tyler. I feel like he was just so like, I don't know, it just seemed like he didn't care when he turned into Wolf. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But his verse was definitely really, really good. Some comedic lines in his verse honestly got me laughing. But getting into Earl's, his verse was insane. He just had a crazy cadence with really good wordplay. His flow was definitely on par with the production. I mean, Another one of those songs that I would personally add to my playlist. So I think y'all get the idea. This song to me, I could argue is honestly the best song on this album. I'm not even gonna lie. It's a very tough outing, but it's up there, man.
So try me if you want, bro. I promise I'm with all of that. Late night shooters got him thinking Johnny Carson back.
Next song we got on here is Centauron featuring Vince Staples. I'm not gonna lie. This song to me it's okay. I think getting into the song, I feel like the production is really, I don't really like it. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like it was just a lot of just like, I don't know. It definitely felt experimental, which I don't really have a problem with a lot of experimental beats, but it's just this beat I couldn't really find like the urge of like enjoying it like that. I feel like when you get too many different sounds, which I feel like that's what experimental is sometimes, but when you get certain sounds that obviously don't match and your flow maybe doesn't keep up with the production, I feel like you kind of lose me at that point. So overall, it was hard to pay attention to any lyrics at some point. I feel like Vince Staples sounded very boring on here. He didn't really sound engaged. And I feel like Earl's verse was honestly really good, but like he wasn't really on beat, and I just feel like I have a really big pet peeve about certain things like that. So this song is honestly like one of those songs I would personally skip because I just don't find it that enjoyable compared to maybe other people.
Said this a hit of liquid heroin, Maryland Manson, channeling pen.
Next song we got on here is Guild featuring Mac Miller. I'm gonna be honest, before I ever listened to this song for the first time, I never knew Earl and Mac Miller had a song together, so definitely caught me by surprise. But I feel like what's interesting about this song is the sound of them is definitely like on the lower end where their voice is really deep and they have like really deep bass voice, and I wasn't expecting that getting into the song. But I feel like overall it's a pretty nice touch. I feel like the sound is acceptable. It doesn't get like old or annoying after a while. It definitely still sounds pretty good. But getting into the production, as y'all know, it is a slow beat. But I feel like the sound of it is definitely really cool. It's kind of vibey in a way. But I can tell this is like a type of song that you listen to when you're like high. I could just see it or maybe feel it. I don't know. Y'all get the point. But besides that, I feel like the sound overall is pretty nice. When you get into the lyrics, though, I'm very impressed with Mac Miller's lyrics. I feel like he went in. I wouldn't say he had the best verse. I'm not going to go that far, but like his verse was definitely, I would argue, maybe on par with Earl. And I feel like when we get to Earl, I feel like this matches his energy right away. I feel like he was made for a type of beat like this or even a type of sound like this. I feel like he was able to just still be crazy lyrical and just be such low tempoed at the same time. And it's very impressive. I'm not even going to lie. So I would say overall, shockingly, one of my favorite songs on the album. Now, I don't listen to it every day, but I'll listen to it every other week. And I mean, I think it still sounds good till this day. So pretty dope.
99 problems all gone in that one joint. And that gold froze like he held it at gunpoint.
Next song we got on here is Molasses featuring the RZA. Very exciting to listen to this song because obviously I'm a big fan of the RZA's production, and I never would have thought there would be a world where RZA and Earl would collab. But seeing that today, or well, technically years ago, for the first time, definitely is very magical. So getting into the production, I obviously love it. It definitely brings you back to kind of that 36 Chambers kind of vibe. I could see this being on 36 Chambers if we're talking about the production. And I feel like overall just having that kind of like, I don't know, authentic kind of sound where it sounded like it just got like recorded off of a phone per se. I just feel like it sounds so good that I can't even hate on it. But getting into the lyrics, I mean, Earl was really just freestyling on here. I loved his flow on here. His cadence was honestly pretty solid. Wordplay was elite. Lyricism was elite. I feel like just the collab of him and RZA was just a special moment, and I wonder if they have more music together, because if they do, they definitely should plan something of a collab, because definitely an overwhelming collab, because you don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but definitely a great collab overall.
Grab mittens who have to spit blizzard. It's actually flick cigarette ash shit, bitch. Niggas harass.
Next song we got on here is Whoa, featuring Tyler, the Creator. I think this song definitely like brings me back to a time where, you know, the Odd Future and just the whole Wolfpack thing was like at an all-time high. And the reason I say that, because obviously you don't see them collab as much anymore. You'll maybe hear them on certain songs every now and then, but it doesn't feel the same how it was obviously at this time. But I feel like from a production standpoint, I do enjoy it a lot. I like the little piano sound in the background. It definitely gives you that just really underground feel to it that I really enjoyed. I feel like the beat type was honestly pretty solid. It wasn't too much going on, but I feel like it was good for the sound of the production, because it is kind of one of those like slower beat kind of things. But I feel like getting into the lyrics, I feel like Tyler and Earl both went hard on this song. I feel like whenever Tyler's on a song, I feel like literally Earl has his like best verses. It's like crazy. He knows what Tyler's gonna bring, so he's like, yeah, let me get to my pen and really like spit for real. And that's not to say he wasn't spitting on any other song. I will not say that, but I feel like he goes on the pen and paper a little harder when Tyler's on the feature, obviously. So I feel like definitely both acceptable verses. I love Tyler on the hook. Was very quotable, and just I feel like you could get a whole kind of chant around that. And honestly, one of those songs I would add to my playlist. Very enjoyable.
Gorgeous, chrome plated horse whip, homemaking paintings from poor quality porn.
Next song we got on here is Horizon. I feel like this song was, it was okay. I feel like when we get into the production, I can appreciate him giving us kind of that Western kind of sound, but like it just wasn't really that enjoyable. And I feel like the beat type was honestly not that great. I feel like just the sound of the production overall, I just wasn't the biggest fan of. It just kind of felt like staticky and kind of off, and I couldn't mess with it, dog. And I feel like even the sound of Earl just didn't really sound that motivational. He didn't really bring enough energy for me to really enjoy it. Now, I will say his wordplay is top tier on this particular song. But when we're taking other things into consideration that I don't really like, I can't really enjoy the song how I want to. I just genuinely can't. So honestly, probably one of the worst songs on the album. It's not really a song I would listen to again. It's just his wordplay is just so amazing. It's just, that's why it's so tough to kind of put it in such a bad tier.
Guess with a few exceptions, yeah, I'm living honest. Except I promised my mama that I would finish college, so I'm chasing pride.
The last song we have on this album is Night featuring Damo, Genesis. I feel like for the last song, definitely very incredible. I just love the overall sound of this song, and I'll tell y'all why. The production is very smoothing. It's a nice listen. I love the sampling. The beat type is amazing. It is one of those slower kind of productions, but it's just so laid back that you could just be like, man, I'm enjoying this. So I definitely love the production because it just matches the energy of the lyrics that they explain. So I feel like from a lyric standpoint, Damo definitely did very good. I feel like he brought more of the energy within this song that he honestly didn't have to, but it definitely kept up with what he was saying. I feel like Earl's part was definitely really chill, laid back. This is like one of those songs you play like while you're doing homework or while you're trying to do like some type of project or even try to play the game. Like it just brings that nostalgic feel that I feel like is missing from rap today. So obviously a very dope song. This song just brings back memories. I don't know. I could just see myself listening to this while I'm playing the game, and it's just that dope. All right, y'all. It is time to break down the 6 credentials I have for this album. And if y'all don't know what the 6 credentials are, just go back to the other previous album reviews and y'all just get a good taste of it. But I'm about to explain them right now. First off, let's start off with production. I feel like the production was probably the most creative I've heard in a while. I feel like the different sounds he was able to have with the samplings. Also, just hearing his production alone, Earl Sweatshirt is who I'm talking about. Him making his own beats as well, I thought was really dope. And he just gave kind of that like really awkward kind of sound to make it really a good sound overall, and I thought that was very enjoyable. So in terms of production, I wouldn't rate it amongst the better production I've heard ever, but I feel like it's a solid one, and honestly, I'm gonna give this a good 8 out of 10. Next one we got is features. Definitely enjoyed the features on here, especially Damo, Tyler the Creator, Vince Staples, especially even Frank Ocean and Mac Miller. Really, really good features overall. And I can't forget about the RZA, of course. Duh. But the features were overall amazing. I couldn't have asked for better features. Everyone had very good performances. I think this was, yeah, I think without question, this is a 10 out of 10 on features. Next one we got is rap performance. I might be kind of a glazer or maybe hypocritical in some way, but I'm giving this a 10. Like the rap performance is amazing. His wordplay is insane. The syllables he used throughout the album is incredible. Lyricism is top notch. Cadence, I mean, you name it, man. I'm losing my voice even trying to talk about it. He is a top lyricist and he should get more attention as a lyricist. So, without a question, a 10. Next up we got is context. I feel like context-wise, he was able to stay on subject a lot of the times. He was able to give us some really good storytelling that I really enjoyed and showed some relatability, especially that young in his career where there was a lot going on, you know, dealing with kind of depression, dealing with, you know, female issues and just dealing with, you know, not having a dad issues are very relatable contextual events. And I feel like you can't really overdo that. So definitely a 10 out of 10 on context. Next up we got is creativity. I think I kind of discussed this with the production, but the creativity is definitely amazing. Top tier. I feel like there was never a moment where I feel like something was too simple, if that makes any sense. I feel like everything was definitely different from other things. Nothing sounded the same. I mean, he just got really just versatile, and I feel like that was very, very important. So for creativity, man, I'm giving it a 10 out of I can't even say things. I'm giving it a 10 as well. That's what I meant to say. And last but not least, we got album cover. Not the craziest album cover. I feel like there's a meaning and a message behind the album cover, but if I'm walking into an album store or a vinyl store, this album really isn't going to catch my eye right away because it just doesn't bring enough of that art out of it. I feel like there's art maybe behind the album, but I just don't think first person, I'm not really like engaged on the album cover that much. But that is not to say it's one of the worst, but I do feel like it's one of the plainest ones if I'm being honest. So if I had to rate it 1 through 10, I'd give it a solid maybe 4. I think it's pretty good. With all that being said, as a total album in general, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. That will conclude today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all did, like, subscribe, and comment down below what other albums y'all want me to review. Also, click the link down in my description for all my social medias. But yeah, man, I'll catch y'all next time.